Del Mar College has nationally recognized opportunities focused on local community needs. Its caliber of education prepares students to compete in the real world. Students benefit from the investment the college district residents make through their local property taxes each year. Alumni will tell you that Del Mar College prepared them for academic transfer or for immediate employment. These are a few of the things you should know happening at Del Mar now. I'm Amy Mintz, Associate Professor of Child Development and Early Childhood at Del Mar College. Today, Dr. Mark Escamilla, the president of Del Mar College, is with us. We'll talk with him about the future of the institution. We'll also talk with the chair of the Del Mar College Board of Regents, Trey McCampbell. He'll speak with us about the upcoming capital improvement program. We've got great information coming your way in the next half hour. Don't go away. This is Del Mar Now. Our first guest has been the president of Del Mar College since 2008. He completed lower division coursework at the college between 1987 and 1990 before earning a bachelor's degree in criminal justice in 1992 and a master's degree in counseling in 1995 from Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi. In 2001, he earned his Ph.D. in educational administration with specialization in community college leadership from the University of Texas at Austin. Please welcome back to Del Mar Now, Dr. Mark Escamilla. Well, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're busy.
Yeah, no problem.
So there's been many changes since you started at Del Mar College over 5 years ago. But the most current news for the college is the future of the institution. Can you tell us some of the college priorities?
Sure. Well, it's nice to be able to say that this fall I'll be beginning my 7th year at the college. And that in itself is it's a huge deal for me. But yes, a lot has changed in 6 short years. Short to some people, not all of us. But a lot has changed, and the economy has changed. The entire landscape of the state's economy has changed. And it's really anchoring that the economy of the country, for that matter. And so in many ways I feel like what's happened here almost overnight, in a few short months, actually a couple of short years, is that this region, we are part of the region here in South Texas that I describe as the epicenter of the energy boom for the entire country. Yes, there are other plays, there are other things going on in other parts of the region, but what's going on here in the Eagle, as a result of the Eagle Ford Shale, has changed dramatically what we do, and it has had both a direct and indirect effect on the college's operations. We are, as a college, positioning ourselves to respond to those opportunities and to fulfill our mission, to go back there and train that workforce and train all the employees that are needed out there for this important event in our lifetime, in the college's lifetime. And when I say the workforce, I'd like to say that I always say that if anybody woke up this morning and went to work, well, congratulations, you're in the workforce. Doesn't mean that you're only welders or pipe fitters or process technologists, or we're all in the workforce. So definitely the economy has changed and we're being positioned. One thing that I saw in the Board of Regents, as well as the administration, the entire college has seen through its planning processes the need to position its facilities to renovate and consider building new facilities and so forth to accommodate the changes for the next several decades. And so that's what we've done. With support of the board, has approved a bond package in November to focus on both East and West campuses and prepare those facilities for the future. So
we've got this great economic boom happening, and the college is primed and ready to bring in these Coastal Bend residents, to get them ready to take advantage of these opportunities.
Yes, very much so. And what I like to tell everybody, it's not a 6-month discussion. We're talking about a 5 to 10 year plan to position the college for the many decades to come after that.
Tell us about this capital improvement program and how that bond proposal would improve services to Del Mar college students.
You know, again, the capital improvement plan, or the CIP, is a comprehensive look at the college's needs. And about a year ago or so, the administration came back to the board and defined about $400 million in needs, total needs for the college. That would begin, that included phase one, about 300,000 square feet of a south side campus, as well as renovating all of the needs of all the areas of facilities that needed renovation on east and west as well as including some looking real far out to the and including the Northwest Center and our capabilities out there in the Cal Allen area. But we knew that $400 million was a lot, but it was our responsibility to look as far out as we could and include everything we could. So long story short, we scaled back, and the board asked the administration to come back with the amount or a portion that we felt could be funded with the general obligation bond. So in doing so, administration boiled that $400 million number down to about a $289 million number. That included, again, all locations here in our tax base. And after further review and further discussion and contemplation with the board, planning and surveying and those sorts of things, the administration made the ultimate recommendation to boil it down even further to $157 million to focus primarily on East Campus, and with about $36 million for West, and about a little under $2 million for planning and health and safety issues for the South Campus, for the 95 acres on the south side. Okay. So we won't really begin that. We'll at this point we'll hold on the South Campus, and but we will begin planning and doing those sorts of things. But you don't really do much with $1.8 million for the South Side for a whole campus. It really is just to begin those conversations. But again, coming back on East, there are many buildings that need a lot of TLC. Some of these buildings were brought online in the 40s, and we have to decide what we're going to ultimately do with them. Now we know there will be some that will be raised or demolished, and then we know we're going to have to add some academic space and to replace all of that. Here's an important thing, though. The total amount of square footage at East Campus, on our East Campus, will only increase by 10,000 square feet. Okay, our entire college is 1.3 million square feet. Okay, and so there will be a net effect of about 10,000 more square feet at East Campus. And on West, we're talking about adding about approximately 40,000 square feet for the general education and technical education and instruction over there. So when you think about the 1.3 aggregate number of square footage here at the district, and 50,000 square feet being added at this point, it's really the campaign, or the capital improvement plan rather, is really about renovating and improving the existing square footage that we have with a relatively nominal amount of square footage net gain.
Okay, well, keeping the buildings in tip-top shape for the students and bringing in extra spaces, that is important. So what all would this cost the taxpayers? Well,
in the $157 million bond, what we estimate is per $100,000 valuation, an annual increase of about $25.10 per year. Okay, part of the conversation is, well, how does that break down by month? I pay taxes. Everybody divides their notes up, and most people who are still paying their mortgages pay on a monthly basis. And when we look at it that way, it's a little over $2.12 or somewhere around a little over $2 a month that way. But again, annually, it's slightly over $25 for $100,000 valuation. So I own my house is $100,000. It's about $25. My house is $200,000. It's about $50 a year.
Okay. So a lot of bang for your buck, though, with Del Mar's giving back to the community.
Yeah, when you think about the economic return that the college really puts back in, for every $1 invested in the college, the college puts back in about $3.50 for every $1. So, when you think about it from that standpoint, it's a wonderful investment. It's a great return on your investment. And our students are getting out there, and our graduates are getting out there and doing really wonderful things to support this local economy. And it's very, very powerful.
That is great. Quickly, can you share with us maybe one new program or partnership that you're most excited about?
Well, let me just say, that's kind of I know all the departments are going to be listening, yes. Which one are you interested in? Who do you really... the good news and the bad news about my personality is that I get into everything, from culinary arts to ceramics to the music program. I get excited about them all, welding program and so forth and so forth. But I will point out our efforts in continuing education. We have repositioned that component of the college to hopefully create a full division. And our partnerships with industry, with the industrial base here, has just been it's been a lot of fun, actually. I enjoy getting out there, getting in the community and meeting with everybody. I especially like getting out there with those industrial leaders and working to make sure that the college is fulfilling its mission and sticking to its very core function of training the folks that are necessary to run these big companies. And again, not just the industrial technologists, not just the welders, but I'm talking about the accountants, the nurses, the medics, the firefighters, everybody, the whole community that it really takes to run these companies. So that's really what I enjoyed the most.
Making learning fun.
I think so.
There you go.
We better have fun. If not, we better rethink things.
Well, thank you for stopping by and chatting with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
We're taking a short break, but the chair of the Del Mar College Board of Regents is coming up. Stay with us.
I spent the day in the shade of a tree, thinking how we best to spend this precious time that we've been given. I came to thinking that the best use of my time would be with you.
Just imagine the places we can go together. Del Mar College, dreams delivered.
Oh, 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 oh.
Catch the Viking spirit. Nationally recognized and locally focused, Del Mar College has been delivering dreams for over 75 years. If Del Mar College has touched your life, join the Vikings Alumni Association and help others achieve their dreams. Stay connected. Support scholarships. Explore the Viking Career Network. Join online today at delmar.edu/alumni for as little as $10 and get a free t-shirt. Show your Viking pride.
Social media is bringing us closer together every day. The CCRTA invites you to stay in touch through any and all of our many pages. Follow us on Facebook for up-to-date news about the city and other issues in public transit. Stay up to date on rider alerts through Twitter. View videos or take our downtown virtual tour on our YouTube page. Find route information, maps, and more on our website at ccrta.org. Be connected to the Corpus Christi Regional Transportation Authority.
For more information about Del Mar Now, log on to www.delmar.edu/now. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions to help us improve Del Mar Now, send an email to now@delmar.edu.
Our final guest is the chair for the Del Mar College Board of Regents. He was elected as a regent at large in 2004 and re-elected in 2010. He serves as Chief Administrative Officer for the American Bank. He earned an associate's degree from Del Mar College, a bachelor's in business administration from Texas A&I University, Corpus Christi, and a master's in business administration from Corpus Christi State University, now known as Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Trey McCampbell. Thank you for being here.
Glad to be here, and thank you for not telling them what year I went to Del Mar College. That would have dated me right off from the beginning.
Well, it's a long-standing institution that's really benefited the community.
It has been, and actually I'm always proud to say that I'm a graduate, and I did go here in the mid-'70s, and gosh, how much the college has changed and how much the needs for the college has changed in our community. So thank you for having me here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Let's talk about this college. So what is the college impact on the community workforce?
You know, one of the things that has impressed me most through my involvement as a business person and now on the college board is how clearly Del Mar College impacts. We have a large number of our students that certainly start here and then go off to a four-year degree, but the vast majority of what we do is train people to go directly into our workforce. And we're the largest trainer of employee needs and employees in this community. There's a number of studies that have been done over time. For example, we know that from state data that someone coming out with an applied sciences degree or in a technical field or occupational field is making $6,000 more on average than people across the state. So they're making $57,000. That's an immediate improvement in someone's economic benefit and in their ability to be a contributing member of our community here. We know from economic studies that there's a large generation of just economic benefit that comes from not only Del Mar College's operations, the money we spend to operate the community, but also the money that those employees are being paid and what they do in the community. And that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. And that's a really huge number. I mean, the number's staggering. It's like $715 or $16 million a year in economic benefit of what we give back to the community.
So this college really does benefit the Coastal Bend economically as well as
it does. It trains the workforce, and then that workforce reinvests in the community, and it's a part of that economic cycle, life cycle that happens here in Corpus Christi and really the Coastal Bend.
That's great. Well, tell us about the capital improvement program to address the immediate and long-term facilities for the college.
Well, let me start a little bit by saying, or maybe debunking a myth. I mean, a lot of times as Regents, when we're out there in the community and we're sort of the eyes and ears of the college, and you listen to people, you quickly realize where they have misunderstandings. And one of the first misunderstandings is our funding structure. I think people are used to state colleges and universities like A&M Corpus Christi, where a lot of their money besides tuition for the operations, but the money for the capital and for building comes from the state. Well, we don't get that. We don't get federal money or state money. So the way the system works in Texas is that if we want to build buildings for our students, for new types of programs, to invest in our needs, to replace buildings like we're doing with this program, that some of them are built in the 40s and the 50s, we have to fund it ourselves locally. And the primary way to do that is through bond dollars. We generally matched bond dollars to long-term investments. Buildings are going to last multiple years, decades and decades. And then you use operating money for repairs and maintenance and roofs and things like that have a shorter life cycle. You don't want to borrow money long-term for something that's before the money's even paid off, that roof's going to be replaced again. So you match money to money. Given that sort of setup, we also have a history of looking at very strategically not just the state of our facilities, but the programs and the emerging needs of our community. The beautiful thing about a community college is they're far more flexible in their programming, whereas a college and university has to go through a long process to put a new degree in. We can start something within a year or two when there's a need in the community. So think back to 2003 when we did our last bond issue, and we identified some needs there that were growing the community. One of them was a critical shortage of nurses. So a big portion of that program was to double the capacity for nurses, and we've done that, and the hospitals are in much better shape now, and therefore the residents here that need those nursing services are in much better shape. We had new programs then that had not been thought of before. A good example is the aviation mechanics facility, and now the Army Depot takes up every graduate that we can get and wants us to do more. And that wasn't something that wasn't on the horizon 10 years ago. So now as we fast forward to what we're doing now, we went through the same strategic process. We heard from the community, from the needs of the corporations and the businesses that are looking for employees here. And we started identifying what current programs need to be expanded, where the growth trends is in programs and the needs for certain specialized workers. So you can understand that things like petroleum engineering, with what all is going on with the Eagle Ford Shale, which is having major economic impact, and that's going to continue for 2 to 3 decades at least. And they're needing all sorts of new graduates, the trucking programs, all those sorts of things that we're going to expand, mechanical engineering. So we'll be expanding, I guess in short, what those programs are that the community needs for our economy, but also those programs that just normal growth programs. And it's even in areas like fine arts and music and things like that.
So you look at the community needs and interests and then apply it to the college for the,
Absolutely.
with those dollars.
And the challenge, I think, is that we're having to plan ahead. We're having to get funding now and tell the public, communicate to them what the needs are of the workforce, get the funding, and then you start immediately finishing the planning and building, with some of those improvements happening within a year or 2, and some of them are a 5 or 6 year plan. So it's a bond program to address really the most critical needs for the next 10 years.
And what are some of the sources of funding for that capital improvement program?
Well, the biggest portion is actually the bonds, and we're talking about $157 million. That compares to about $103 million 11 years ago. It will impact primarily the West Campus and the East Campus. And there'll be a little bit of money for beginning to plan what we're going to do on the South Campus, which we'll hopefully do several years down the road. But it will be money that we go to the public, ask them to vote for the bond. If the bond passes, the impact on a person that owns, let's say, a house of that's tax value is $120,000 is about $2.10 I think per month, so it's pretty nominal. Also, if someone is a senior citizen who's exempted out, or a veteran with disability, or qualify for the standard exemptions, then they don't see any impact at all. So it's designed to reach out to the public who's going to benefit from the services that Del Mar provides, who have people that are going to go to college here and want to get gainfully employed, and do it in a way that doesn't unduly hurt those that can least afford it, based upon income, disability status, age, and things like that.
Right. Okay. Well, as you're talking about the community, as an elected representative of this community, what are some issues or concerns that you've heard about from Del Mar College area residents?
Well, there's always a number of things that we face. I'll give you an example related to this. Was when we first started this program, we knew that we had $397 million in needs identified, probably really over the next 15 years. We pared that down to about $280 million, but as we talked to the community, one of the big concerns was, we know we need Del Mar. We know we have an extremely high rating. We have like a 91% approval rating in the community, which is phenomenal.
Yes.
But people are concerned about taxes. They haven't begun to see all the benefits in their own pockets yet of what's happening through Eagle Ford Shale and all the $17 billion of development that's going over in the Portland area that's related to the Port of Corpus Christi. So I think we did what we should do as Regents and the college administration. We talked to people, we heard their concerns, and we pared that down to $157 million. That's the most critical need. So, one of the challenges is always taxes and doing something that is appropriate, that people can see the benefit from. But that's long-term dollars. Then, of course, ongoing challenges is that we've got right now a tax base that is growing and expanding. We're still providing for college operations. Even while you're in the midst of planning for the future, you still got to think about the present, and that's always a challenge.
Well, previously you mentioned some outstanding, great programs that are new and becoming stronger because of the economic boom that's happening in this area. What makes Del Mar College such an outstanding choice for students beginning to pursue their higher education?
I can answer that from as I see it now as a regent, how I saw it prior to becoming a regent as a community member and a business leader, and I can answer it how it was in the 70s when I was a student here. And I think it's always been about quality. We've always had great faculty, great administration, really good access to high quality education that's affordable. And we know that we're 1/3 of the cost if someone goes to A&M Corpus Christi, and it's just because our structure is such that we can provide that more affordably. So a lot of students start here. I mean, I did the same thing. When you were reading my degrees earlier, one is from Del Mar and two is from the institution out there. But I could get my associates here, and I could go on to get my bachelor's and eventually my master's. And it's great to have those kind of resources for our community, because people go back and do that at different life cycles. So many people come and they'll get a 1-year certificate or a 2-year associate like I did. Maybe we'll go out and work some, and then come back and finish up additional degrees at A&M Corpus Christi or A&M Kingsville, or they'll come back and tweak their education here. They'll take some additional certification. So being flexible, being affordable, being accessible is really, really important, I think, and it's what makes Del Mar so strong at what it does. And gosh, we've been doing it for over 75 years and have a strong track record of meeting the needs of the community.
Well, as an instructor, I would agree with you on all those
Yes.
statements there. So what challenges do you foresee for the college?
Well, as everything, it's balancing the needs of the community with financial constraints. And I will say somewhat as a side note that one of the best things that happened, odd as this may say, is the Great Recession. Because there's nothing like a recession and everyone, whether you're a for-profit business, a nonprofit, a college, those of us in our own personal lives, to have to think through how you do things and do it smarter, more effectively, more efficiently. And so there's always an economic challenge. There's always a challenge of the changing needs in the community. There's challenges of students coming into the system from the school districts, and we know that the vast majority of all 5 high schools that feed into us within 2 years go to Del Mar. And so we've got a big service population to provide, and yet a lot of times those students are coming out underprepared. And as an instructor, you know this, oftentimes we're offering courses that are developmental in nature and catch up on some of the math and the sciences, and that continues to be a big challenge.
Well, it sounds like we have a great future ahead, though, and we are addressing these challenges. So
You got it. With your help and the whole communities, we'll get there.
Well, thank you for talking with us today.
Glad to.
If you have questions or comments about Del Mar Now, send an email to now@delmar.edu. Del Mar Now returns with an all-new season in October. We hope you'll join us. Until then, I'm Amy Mintz for Del Mar Now. Thanks for watching.